Playing it safe is the fastest way to get left behind. Just pay attention to what's happening in our politics and our entertainment and what just the environment for the last 6 months has been like. And who's playing it safe is a person who's getting left behind. It doesn't matter in what industry you're in. That's what we're talking about today. We do have our special guest with us here. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everyone. Paul Bodwin here, Wealth Standard Financial, Senior Wealth Advisor and CEO and owner of URP, Unlike Regular People. Thank you for having me on.
And of course, we have the rest of the HBR podcast here as always. And Paulie, I think you can definitely speak to this about not playing it safe, coming from a financial background and moving over into the fashion industry. Like, what was that journey like? And did you have an issue with maybe taking that step to jump into that industry coming from a financial background?
Well, it's funny because right off the bat, playing it safe and speaking about the financial markets, if you play it safe with your money, even if it's your retirement, with the rate of inflation, where inflation is at right now at 8%, and if you have your money in a checking account or even under the mattress, you're going to be losing money every year if you play it safe. If you don't take risk, even if it's a calculated risk and low risk, in order to get 5-6%, even to keep up with inflation, you're going to find yourself broke and your money is not working for you. As far as URP, there's no plan B in URP, meaning you can't play it safe. You got to go all in. You cannot have an option to where if something doesn't work, oh, I'll just do this. There can't be any option.
And I think everybody here is a business owner, right? Like what is considered for you guys playing it safe? Because there's some people who will say, oh, well, you know what? If you have a job and a side hustle, well, that's playing it safe because you don't want your side hustle for you to be able to build it 10x because you're taking time at your real job. Or if you're not putting all of your efforts into something else, what does playing it safe mean to you guys? Whoever wants to go, Vic?
For me, playing it safe is we're talking about an example of playing it safe the other day, right? You get this false sense of security, and me and myself playing it safe, which I did do the right moves. If you look at it on paper and you look at everything that I'm supposed to do, I made the right moves. I played it safe. I retained some money, and I did as best as I could. And Nate and I talk about it often about coming where we come from. Any progress is better than the progress that we had kind of growing up. So I played it safe. I was, and I'm talking about real estate. I bought a safe house, which was a smaller payment, a comfortable payment that allowed me to buy other rental properties and kind of snowfall that rental asset. When I got into a position where I wanted to move from my area for one reason or the other, and the thing is, when I was living by myself, or even my wife, as she was a flight attendant, she was gone all the time, I felt like I was living by myself. Everything was okay for me. But the moment that I threw kids into the mix, it's like, nah, I need to leave. I need to be better. I need to go in another area. I need to move. So I continued to play it safe in the area that I thought was great and all those. And I stopped taking those kind of risky, investments in real estate. And in short, we talked about how over the last 5 years, I've been tracking just different opportunities that have come up because I played it safe and didn't want to make those. I didn't want to move my family around. I didn't want to make those moves. I didn't want to make those changes. I ended up losing an opportunity to own, a 2-acre lot on Lake Woodlands, at under $1 million. And that house just sold for $2.4 million. And they didn't do much to it. I had the opportunity to get that at $800,000. If I would have made my moves when I needed to make them, when I knew I should have, I would have been living there. I would have potentially earned that. The what ifs really kill you if you play it safe. And I just say, thankfully, I feel I'm young enough to still make those changes and still make those moves. And I think that even at the end of the day, if you're comfortable where you're at and you really look at where you can end up at, if you're comfortable with the end result, which is worst case scenario, then you should go for it. For me, worst case scenario would have been I'd ended up in my smallest, rental property. And is that such a bad place to end up at? No, it's not.
Exactly.
So as long as you have fail safes in there, you have precautions, and you have those things, you should, take a little risk, I feel.
I honestly think that as a business owner, there's really no way for you to play it safe. Now there's risk, gauging your risks, right? That's usually what you do have control of. But as far as playing it safe, whenever everything's just on yourself, or when it's just with, you're making money just based on whatever moves you make, it's really not safe. It's a risk. You're not getting paid hourly. You're not getting paid a salary, right? And so, he just stated, that some people are like, well, I want to keep my job and I want to do this on my business on the side until that starts making me enough money and stuff like that. And so, you have to go all in with one or the other. Now, I understand, once you have a business that you play a management role in, right, where you have people under you, well, then that's when you can start going for other businesses and stuff like that. I guess my safe zone, right, or what I consider safe is when we did start venturing into other businesses, we kept it still under the umbrella of real estate, right? And it's because that's what we know. And I didn't want to learn anything else. I wanted to just double down and home in on what I knew,
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I really want to like point out is the fact that sometimes you have business owners who, when they're starting off, they're doing whatever it takes, they're taking all the risk, whatever, to make that business what it needs to be. And then when it comes time to make that next step, they try to continue to do the same thing that got them there, right? Yeah. But even though it might mean for you to slow down and you feel like, oh, well, this is safe, me slowing down. But slowing down might be that risk that you're taking, because now you got to teach someone else to do what you were doing before, because they're going to be under you in order for you to take that next step. And that is the risk. And a lot of times what feels safe doesn't necessarily mean that that's where like you need to be, because it might feel like, you know what, the next step that I'm doing, I'm taking less work on, so it feels more comfortable for me. Just because you're comfortable doesn't mean that you're not taking a risk. And I think a lot of people don't know the difference between that little switch.
Yeah, and I want to hear Paulie's answer to that question that you just asked, but I just don't want to lose my train of thought when you were saying that, and that's the problem too, is that when you start taking a management role, you start taking a more of an overseer role. You think that you have to duplicate yourself exactly, and the thing is that you don't. You just have to find somebody that can do what you were doing, right, efficiently, and sometimes you find people that do what you were doing better, and that's the best. When you find somebody that's doing what you were doing better, that I guess that in a sense can be a security, right, that you try to achieve. But yeah, it's absolutely true what Jovani's saying. But
well, to echo Vick's point, I really liked what you said about measuring the risk. We call that in the financial field standard deviation. What is the level of risk? What is the worst case scenario if I do fail? And sometimes failing is great because you learn. If you're able to fail and learn, that's even more beneficial to you in the long run than just maybe succeeding with a low risk. Mm-hmm. I'll go back to my poker days when I used to play poker. Taking a risk in a pot, it all depends. I mean, if I put $100 into a pot with $300, that pot odds is 3-1. But if I put $100 into a pot of $1,500, that's 15-1. So I'm taking a much more calculated, thought out risk. Mm-hmm. So what level of the risk? It means a lot as well.
Yeah, but in the financial, industry, you're playing with other people's money, taking risk, and it's like
correct.
Yeah. So it's easier to be more cavalier with like, oh, we'll win it back on the next run,
Correct.
But whenever because now you're an entrepreneur, right? You're a business owner of a company that you're totally 100, responsible for. So it's kind of like, ooh, okay. So if I put out this, merch, and I'm just throwing scenarios, I really don't know your business much, but I put out this merch and then people don't like the Eagles, right? And it's gonna be like, all right, now everybody's gonna hate on me and I'm gonna get, I'm not gonna make, my profit this month or whatever, so.
That's a perfect point. Now, the financial industry, we have risk assessments, risk surveys, where we ask our clients not only their goals, but what is their risk tolerance. If you're 58 years old and you're 4 years away from retirement, we're going to put you in a completely different portfolio, risk tolerance portfolio, than somebody that can afford, 3 down movements, because they're 25 years away from retirement. In the fashion industry, yes, it's very risky. Some things I think, this is not going to be too popular. They're a total hit. So if I didn't take that risk, that would never have happened or transpired into the next cool URP item. Some things I think are going to be great aren't. So you have to really kind of just put yourself out there and be willing to pivot and navigate. And that was to your point.
Right, and there's that saying whenever it comes to the audacious few, it's always what is it called? Fate always favors them. But there's also a problem, whether you be in financial, fashion, real estate. Whenever you're like, you know what, I need to take some risk, but if that risk can put you in a position where it tarnishes your reputation, it might completely throw you out of whack. I mean, I feel like we see this in every industry. In real estate, you see these realtors who've never been on camera before. They jump on camera and they're just making a fool out of themselves. Like, they chose to do that. Then you see other people like car manufacturers. I mean, look at Jaguar, what they did with their cars, saying that they're going to be in the future. And then the most recent commercials they did, it just feels like they let go of all of the history that they had, the legacy they had built in the past, to go in this new direction that looks like it's coming down. Bud Light, same thing that happened. Paulie, how can you speak to that in the industry that you're in? Like, when do you know, or do you just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks?
Well, with the S&P being up, we just, got done 2 presidencies, Trump, Biden, and now Trump is back. And a lot of people don't know, 964 days into each presidency, the S&P was up 66% and 67% relatively, both presidencies. So it doesn't really matter who is in the White House as much as people think it does. So the market has been booming now for 7 or 8 years. So you have a lot of these do-it-yourselfer investors that like to buy stocks, and they think they're taking risks because the market is up, and they think they get a kind of a false sense of reality that there's some big investor and they can do it themselves. But you watch when the market correction comes, that those people are going to be like, oh wow, maybe it's not as easy I thought it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the same thing in real estate. People that don't want to use a realtor, that blows my mind. And it's just like, okay, we'll see how you do, whether you're selling a house or whether you're trying to buy a house, and then they're not going to sell their house for what they could have if they had a professional come in and help them, plus all the other behind the scenes, paperwork they have to do. But the do-it-yourself people that do not let professionals, that's a different kind of risk, in my opinion.
Definitely. Oh, so I think we can speak to that as well, because is there somebody that you go for guidance whenever you are ready to take another risk, and somebody who can help you analyze that risk and be like, you know what, it is risky, but I think it probably is a move for you to make? Do you have somebody that you trust, or is it just you when you look inward and you're like, you know what, I'm comfortable with this decision, I'm willing to take it?
We do have I have a group that we meet with, a mastermind group that, are small business owners that have made mistakes, and you ask them, hey, what should I do here? And you got to spend money to make money. So that's, to go back to my point, take risks that are smart, but know your downside versus your upside.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Vic could speak to this whenever it comes to like our real estate, our realtors here. Everybody, they fall under a team, and whenever it's time to make a move, we don't just, just go out there and make your own decisions. We come here, hey, let me know what you're gonna do. What's the next step? What's your marketing plan? Are you thinking about going after luxury? You're thinking about going after land and ranch? How can we actually sit down and analyze this and take that risk and to actually position yourself to make it something positive versus it just being 100% risky?
Yeah, I like to test and learn is really what we do. So every team has different strengths and weaknesses, and being around in the business, for 15 years, I like to lean on the different personality types, and generally people like to do similar things. You see things that kind of go around and come around, and with the teams, it's an easy, understanding what is it going to cost for us, what is the potential outcome, and is it going to make sense for us, right? And honestly, if we're breaking even on anything, but we're gaining experience and we're gaining knowledge, that's a win for me, and I'm willing to give anything a shot. And you'd be surprised. Some of these new agents, younger agents, they come in with new ideas and different opportunities, and they work out way better than something that we've already done, and we can implement that into the business. So I think always keeping an eye out for new opportunities. And what we talk about is kind of filling the gaps. Filling those gaps are a risk because there's no proof of concept or proof that it's going to work. You're taking a risk on yourself and your strength and your personality type to be able to gain some business. So it's an opportunity. And I think that we have that success because we surround ourselves with people that want to take the risk. We surround ourselves with people that are bold, that are willing to kind of double down on their strengths and see the finish line and see it through. It's important. I think your team is important, and it helps you feel comfortable to take those risks. You don't really feel like you're just out there by yourself. You feel like, all right, we can do this collectively.
Yeah, and I think that's something like, especially for me as a person who was like risk, like I avoided risk at all costs. I like to actually sit down, write it out, think it out 100 steps ahead of time. But the last 2 years, I've been noticing is like you don't have the. I mean, it comes to a certain point. You know, I'm getting up there in age. It's like you don't have time to slowly make certain steps until you're comfortable enough to take the next step. Right now, it's all about speed. Speed. Fell quick, fell fast, and get right back up and keep going until you find the right spot to where you can double down and correct it.
I think that you know, social media has connected a lot of people from a lot of different cultures, a lot of different countries, a lot of different everything, right? And what it has made people feel is that anybody can do everything, right? And I always tell people, you know, I have a buddy of mine, right? You know, and he calls me and he's like, you know, he's trying to do these business ideas, and I'm like, hey, look, man, you're not an entrepreneur. You're not a risk taker. This is not for you. You know, get behind somebody that is doing something, has a successful business, and invest into his business, and that's how you're going to get a piece of that you know glory that you're looking for, because you yourself, you know, and you know, it's usually like, you know, an engineer, you know, people that work in the industry, which is super strange to me, right? And I think I've told you this before, right? That your business, right, in finance, you know, and then your clothing business, right, or your designer business. I mean, it's day and night.
Two
you know?
totally different ends of the spectrum.
And that's just like you know, it's like you have to be two different type of people in both businesses. So I'm like super interested, because you're kind of like an anomaly. You're like something that I really preach against. You know, I always, you know, people that are in engineering, people that are, I tell them, no, don't go for that, you know, that has nothing to do with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I would really like to know, how do you do this? I mean, how do you literally, you know, and I don't know how old you are, right? I'm old as hell, right? But when I was younger, right, there used to be the movies. It was called Angel, right? And it was like this chick, right? She was a school teacher in the day, and she was a crime-fighting prostitute at night, right? And so it was like, it was day and night. Yeah, nobody knows about this. Jovani turned around and said, "Oh, I want to see that movie."
Yeah,
Sounds like a great movie.
Hey, putting that one on my
Sounds like a great
checklist.
movie, but you know, how do you do it? How do you juggle a totally corporate? I mean, if and you know, and we're talking about risk in this too, right? If you were dressed like this, right, and you were hanging out at a Rockets game, and then, you know, the guy that just, you know, invested $10 million with you, you know, like how do you juggle that, you know?
You know what? That's funny. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid to one up you is The Secret of My Success.
Oh yeah,
Michael J. Fox. I thought about that today when I was changing in this suit. In this URP suit, I was in my work outfit and I was changing in the restroom. I was like, man, I feel like Bradley Winsworth. I forget his name, but great movie. But it is him, you know, toggling back and forth between a mailroom guy and a high executive in corporate America. And going to Rockets games with, I can remember when my older brother was the mascot, Clutch, Robert Bodwin, and I was at Merrill Lynch and I was taking my advisors to a Rockets game and do the suite. And then I took them underneath to meet the mascot and the dancers. And I'm like, these are just people. You know, they like basketball just like me. So I'm cognizant of what I wear on who I meet with. If I'm meeting with a 78-year-old widow, I'm going to be a little bit, you know, I'm going to be dressed up, you know, even if it's a button down and a sports jacket. But if I'm meeting a 25-year-old influencer that just, you know, hit it rich on Instagram or something like that, I can be a little bit, you know, dressed down. But how I do it, lots of sticky notes. But, you know, really just a lot of organizing, business plans in each. And I'm going to be riskier at times. I would take a lot of risks in URP. I mean, in itself, a clothing line is like a bar. It's A bar has a 90% chance of a failure rate, you know, and so does clothing lines. It's a very hard, you know, from getting trademark, from getting the website, from getting your product, your inventory, your mess ups, your tests, everything like that. So much can go wrong along the way.
Your website's still kind of glitchy, man. I had to order this on the phone.
Oh, hey.
Good thing I know the owner.
Yeah, right.
What do you think, everyone?
I think about your clothing brand, this is great.
I freaking love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Athleisure
comfortable.
wear.
I like it.
I liked athleisure wear when it got. I feel like it blew up during COVID. But quality athleisure wear was hard to find. Like everyone just kind of did run of the mill type stuff. That was just it seemed like fast fashion, and it just didn't really feel great. But you feel the quality in the product, which is amazing.
Appreciate that.
I like something that everybody's getting away from right now, even Jovani, and it's the tapered pants. I like tapered, and apparently Jovani told me that that's too old school. So, but I wish they would.
We are very quickly gonna look like the old man in the tapered.
Are we really?
Very quickly.
Oh man,
I love it, but I'm
too.
watching videos of myself online versus these young kids, and I look like the old guy. I'm like, man.
But you want to know something though? I have to admit the first, because this is our second podcast, right?
Yep.
The first podcast you came in, right, and they were like, "Hey, this is fashion designer." I expected this young kid like Dean, right, or like my son, or like I expected some young guy. And so when you came, I don't say you're old, right, but you came in, I was like, this guy's a fashion designer. I said, oh man, come on, And so the thing is that when you remember in the podcast,
sure,
we got a podcast. That's the first time I ever mentioned. We just threw us together in the podcast, and then you said you were in finance, and I was like, what? And I'm like, no way. And then so I started like kind of drilling you and asking you these hard questions, and you were just like, I said, I guess he is.
Those were hard.
Yeah, so I guess he is in finance, right? And so the thing is that and I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? And and I hope you don't take this wrong or too hard or anything like that. But you bring up that movie Michael J. Fox, right? The Secret of My Success, right? But I grew up on those movies, right? So to me, Wall Street, to me, success is a three-piece, a double-breasted suit, with suspenders, pinstripes, slicked hair, and gold watch. I mean, all that is success to me. Loafers. I mean, that's success in a high-rise of building. And so when I finally got to a profession, right, and not only am I a real estate professional, but I own a real estate company, right. And now that I'm at this state here, and I got these realtors that I'm hiring, and they come in here dressed like in my opinion, right? I guess I'm the old guy in the room, right? They dress like bums, Like to me, it's kind of like, bro, like I got in too late, Like there's no class anymore. There's no style. There's no luxury. There's no just class.
Yeah,
there's no class.
I agree with that, and I like dressing up still sometimes. Yeah. I like having the choice. I like not saying, oh, you have to dress up every day 8 to 5. COVID was a big awareness to that. It raised that, hey, we can take Zooms from the house. You can wear a T-shirt with a sport coat. But no, I definitely like, whether it's a wedding, whether it's maybe a job interview where you're meeting a client, and when you have to get into a nice suit and tie. I still like doing that. You are very sharp when I see you out, at an event. You're always double-breasted suit, cufflinks. So yeah.
And I think that's one thing. I mean, you can speak to, Paulie, especially in the fashion world. During COVID, I did notice that everybody automatically athleisure wear all the time. All the time. It doesn't matter where they were going grocery shopping. They were waking up from a nap. It didn't matter where they were going to a wedding. It didn't matter. Everybody was in their joggers, right? But now it seems like people are starting to make that division again, right? Whenever you're doing something professional, you're attending an event, they're going to dress up, or whenever they're doing their business or just hanging out, they're going to have their athleisure wear. And I think it's because everybody's coming back to reality, to where it's like, okay, everything has its place at its own time.
Yeah.
What do you say about that, Nate?
I
Nate said, no, I still want to see you at the gym in a full suit.
I want to see you at the gym in a suit. No.
Nate really embraced athleisure wear. No, he got athleisure wear suits, bro. I was like, what are you doing?
I do. Lulu makes a really good leisure suit. Yeah, I have a sleeve. But no, the thing is this. I agree with you, Jovani, right? That you should have your time for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm comfortable in a suit. I like suit. I spend money on my suits. Not only do I spend money on my suits, I spend money on my tailoring. Okay, so I wear them everywhere and anywhere, right? I know there's a time for you to be in leisure wear, right? But it's not during the week, and you shouldn't have more leisure wear than you do suits if you're an entrepreneur and you're a businessman. That's just my opinion, right? You shouldn't, because honestly, I wouldn't work out in this. I would wear this, to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That's just,
This is an absolute number one airport outfit, bro. Feels
definitely.
I feel classy. I feel like I'm not going to get kicked off the plane.
Yes.
It feels amazing.
Exactly.
It looks, yeah.
Nate's definitely wearing this on a 6-hour drive to McAllen.
I feel like people looking at like, what brand is that, man? If Nate's wearing it, it must be some expensive brand, right? And which it is, right? So the thing is this. I agree with that, but I mean, if you think about it, everybody wants to be just dressed down, and I'll tell you this: I was so surprised, right? I went to Europe for the first time like 2-3 years ago, right? I was so surprised. There was women full makeup, dressed, riding bikes in the park. Nobody was wearing workout clothes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that, okay, if you're gonna wear workout clothes, right? Make sure your workout clothes looks appropriate, right? And don't wear workout clothes, all day, every day. They were saying that a lot of people were wearing their workout clothes so much that even when they were washing it, it wasn't killing the germs from their body enough, and because some of the clothes that for workout is like lycra, I don't know, it's made out of some material that that you
like
can't,
the dry fit stuff.
Yeah,
right?
like dry fit stuff. It wicks, and so there. And if you don't wash it correctly, you're literally wearing your own germs again.
Yeah.
And people, some people were just wearing it over and over. And then you get a black spandex, right? These women, they buy these black spandex. They would wear that spandex all week without washing it.
Let's talk about something.
Get out of here.
It just made me.
And I'm like, bro, I'm like, so
How do you know for sure they wore the same one?
You make an interesting point.
I threw a spit water at her, and it was still on her the next day.
What was the point?
What was the point? Go ahead.
When I go to I go to Lifetime Fitness, Greenway, City Center, even downtown by where we did the podcast last time. And if I roll up, because normally when I go to the gym, I'm in a workout outfit, or maybe I won't work out in that, but I'd wear it over that. So if it's, let's say 60 degrees out, and I might have like a aloe, I love aloe now as well. I wear a lot of other athleisure wear brands. But if I walk in there on a day that I'm in my suit still, or if I had a meeting from Well Standard and I walk in, I can tell the way they look at me. They're like, "Oh, wow, you look nice. You look nice today, Paulie," because I look different. Because they have a picture in their mind of Paulie is normally dressed in athleisure wear, URP, Lulu, Aloe. But then when they see me, I'm like, yeah, like you kind of alluded to that. I'm a chameleon. I can go, dress both ways.
Yeah, nobody ever tells me that because everybody always sees me in a suit.
But now you walk around like that.
And one thing that I learned about wearing a suit all these years is that nobody ever questions a man in a suit.
Unless you're at the Galleria.
And then they ask you if you work there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Donald Trump gets questioned all the time.
True.
But no, I've walked into events. I have walked out of stores with stolen products. I'm just playing.
Like that Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live skit.
I have literally, I could have stolen things if I wanted to at stores because nobody will question me.
When I try to return something or anything like that, I get in a suit. I don't put a leisure wear on. And I'm white privileged.
Man, funny about that. I've always... I'm always in a suit, and I did my 1 year. I told Nate I did these like 365 days of wearing a tie every day. Like I was like, I'm just gonna wear full suit, tie, everything, like not taking no days off. And that really kicked off like my love for suits and all that good stuff. And as we got into the business, I always wore them. The first time that I dressed down, I went to a Mexico game at the NRG Stadium, and I wore a Mexico shirt, jersey, jeans, and boots. It was literally my first pair of boots because I didn't even have boots like that. And it was I had boots, and I looked like every other Mexican in Houston. and I get pulled over, and I got so disrespected by the cops, and I wasn't used to it. I was like, "You're not gonna talk to me like that." He's like, "Get out the car." I was like, "I'm not getting out the car." He's like, "I'm gonna take you." So I was like, "All right, you can take me." He's like, "I'm gonna take you downtown." I said, "Well, take me downtown." And I got so upset. I didn't want to talk, and I was like, "I'm just gonna get released tomorrow," which I did, and they forgave. They just let everything go. But I was so upset that I got so disrespected by dressing down. I said, "Man, this is why I need to dress up, man. I talk too much crap to be out here dressing in a freaking jersey talking crap."
So in because you just said white privilege, and he's actually saying something that does happen to us, right? And so my grandfather always said that. He always said, he said in Spanish, he said that a Mexican man should always be dressed up. You can't be dressed down. It just doesn't happen. And that always stuck with me, right? And then of course 80s movies, always stuck with me. So that's why when to me, in my opinion, success is dressing nice and having nice clothes, the suits. Yeah. So that's my story.
I can't relate. I'm an American and I could dress however I want. So.
Exactly. I wear the Texas flag every day, baby.
Yeah, let's go. USA, USA.
I'm more upset they had a Mexico jersey on.
And this is why I got arrested.
That's why you got arrested, because he thought he was white.
I said, "I'm just like you."
He thought he had white privilege. I was born in this country too.
He said, "Sir, I am an American citizen and I know my rights."
Said, "I'm a fifth generation American. Don't disrespect me like that."
He said, "You're just a visitor here, bro. Get out of here."
Yeah, he was asking
Vick
for
said,
my
"I don't
paper.
even like this team."
I was doing it to impress a girl.
He said, "Take her."
Fun times. That was also when the U.S. women's national team was popping off with Alex Morgan and Hope Solo, and they were playing. It was a great time. Great time to be a soccer fan. So anyways.
So tell us real quick, I don't know how much time we got left, but I want to know a little bit more about the shirt, the sweater you have on, because it's a special edition, right?
This is a special edition. I just made it this past week.
Nice.
Saquon Barkley, the Eagles signed him in the offseason, this past offseason, free agent signing from the New York Giants. He came. We say he came back home because he played for Penn State, and it was always a dream that he wanted to come back to the Philadelphia Eagles. So we signed him. They're going to the Super Bowl. It's his birthday on the Super Bowl this Sunday.
Nice.
Wow.
It's a move that he did this year that everyone, if you watch football, is very familiar with. He went to the left on a halfback option, kind of span around, and then he did a reverse hurdle over a Jacksonville Jaguar. And like everyone, while they're watching the game, my text blew up because everyone knows, and I'm an Eagle fan. Everyone's like, "What the hell is that?" Like it looks like a video game when he did it. So he did a reverse hurdle. I threw the URP logo in Kelly green with the URP on the back. So fly Eagles fly. We will win Sunday.
Let's go. You heard it here first.
So how many of these did you print?
I printed 50 of them.
Okay, and that's all. So they're limited edition. Okay, so my daughter's getting one. Yep. They win the Super Bowl. I'm sending it to that guy so he could sign it.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna frame it. I'm putting it in our new office.
There you go.
There you go. And I'm sure he will. He's a great guy, man.
Nate doesn't watch sports, so explain how important it was or how crazy it was that y'all even got that running back. I feel like for free, or what happened. It's like. Explain it in real estate terms for Nate.
Yeah.
So basically,
what kind of trade did they do?
Basically,
we did a 3-year contract for him for like $36 million, and I saw today a meme on Instagram that if they measured him to the wide receivers, he'd be the 27th paid wide receiver in the NFL, and he's having arguably one of the best seasons ever for a running back.
Where's the real estate
comparison?
Nate doesn't watch sports, so in his mind,
I don't. Essentially, what you're telling me is that they bought a piece of property.
This is like when Joe Rothschild left Remax and joined Keller Williams. Bro.
Oh, is that what it is?
Same thing.
Okay, is that what it is? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they bought a piece of property for, let's just say, $500,000, and they sold it maybe a year later for $2 million.
Great dub.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
W.
A lot of value in it, and just,
they conveniently bought it right next to the Metro Rail where, no one's supposed to know. That's awesome. Man. That's great.
All right. So do you already have them up on your site?
No, not yet. I don't like to really put special editions on my site, especially when it's just like for a team that I like, because I don't want to steer Giants fans, Cowboys fans away. Like, oh, this guy's a Philadelphia fan, just because I like it. I did it more for myself, but hey, I think 90% of the country seems like they're rooting for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The only people that are rooting for the Chiefs are either Kansas City fans or Taylor Swift fans. It seems like.
I'm gonna make an embarrassing confession here that
I like Taylor Swift too. Yeah.
yeah, no, I love Taylor. I'm a Swiftie for sure.
She's a Kansas fan.
But no, I always thought that the Kansas City Chiefs were like an old Houston team, but it was the Dallas Texans. And now I'm realizing why.
No, the Titans are
No,
the old.
I know.
Dallas.
They were the
Texans?
Oilers.
I know, but the Kansas City Chiefs' original team was the Dallas Texans from the AFL.
Oh, really?
So the Texans relocated to Kansas City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Swift dates one of the Chiefs,
Oh, yeah.
Travis Kelce.
Okay.
That's the you don't watch football. I love that. That's it's
don't.
organic. It's very refreshing.
The only sport that I ever used to watch, I was a big fan. I used to go to fights. I know a lot of boxers. All the Houston boxers, I know them. Was boxing.
Oh, okay.
But Mayweather ruined the sport for me.
Okay. Why? Because he was kind of like finesse.
He ruined the sport for me because I know for sure he lost 3 fights. And they gave it to him. And then he went in there. He never fought. He ran around.
Yeah.
Boxing is a sport for warriors.
Right.
And
Who did he lose?
after that happened, then De La
your
Hoya.
mom, bro. What's
Then
the
De La
matter?
Hoya. For sure, dude. He lost to Barrera and he lost to Cotto, dude. I don't care what nobody says, dude. You can watch that fight over and over. He lost.
bro.
And they gave it to him.
You
This
just hating,
dude
bro.
right
You
here,
just
man.
hating.
He
He's the
likes-
best in the
All right, look,
sport,
I don't want to get
bro.
into it because I'm going to get
He's the
angry.
best boxer
But
of
the
all
thing is
time.
this. Look, the thing is this.
Oh, so you do like sports.
he
Look at
ruined-
that.
he
Look at the
ruined-
energy. I love
He
it.
Yeah,
ruined
look at him,
boxing
look at
for
him.
me, okay? And so when I stopped watching boxing because of him, when finally he did his fake retirement, right? Or his because he might have been a champ, but he wasn't the people's champ. And it's hard to be the champ
was.
and the people's champ, okay? And so the thing is this, whenever he retired and I wanted to go back to watch a sport, then that other freaking dude, De La Hoya, had the market.
Did they ever fight?
No. He
De La Hoya and Mayweather fought.
no, they did fight. No, I'm saying like when I went back, he had the market. In other words,
yeah.
he had the dad scene. What is it called or whatever
The Zone.
the zone, and then he was brokering these crap fights. It just lost its lure. I mean,
Yeah.
it just lost the sport, the heart, the everything. It's
I
gone.
definitely
It's
see
gone.
what you're saying about he
Yeah.
was elusive and he
Yeah.
ran from
Yeah.
the physicality and kind of learned how to win a fight without even fighting.
Yeah, he sucked. Yeah.
You know what? Like,
And then
I
people
agree
copied him, and then people copied him and thought that was a win. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like what's that dude's name? The rapper that snitched on everybody, the little Mexican kid. You know,
6ix9ine?
6ix9ine. You know, now he's making snitching cool. You know, so it's like he ruined rap and this Mayweather dude ruined boxing for me at least.
Nah,
So,
you know what? I agree with Nate that he
Damn,
quote unquote,
Jovani agrees
quote
with
unquote,
me.
that he
Yeah.
ruined boxing,
He
but
did.
not for the reason that Nate says, right?
All right, well, you
he
give me your
ruined
reason.
boxing by being the best, and everybody else had to cheat to try to copy him.
Damn.
That's what happened.
Bro.
So Nate's favorite boxer,
Bro.
Nate's favorite boxer.
Polly's real quiet out here. What do you feel, Polly? What do you feel?
Boxing, I was a Tyson guy, I guess, when I grew up, but I enjoyed it. But I kind of agree with what Nate says about him. He was just boxing. People want to see punching,
Yeah,
fighting.
it's
They
a
don't want to
warrior's
see a guy
fight.
running around, learning how to master this.
Bro.
Everything is cyclical. Let me first say that every sport is cyclical. The NBA right now is trash.
Yeah,
all
facts.
it is 3-point shooting. I feel like I had a 0.001% chance to play in the NBA 25 years ago when it was Charles, Hakeem, Patrick Ewing. Now all it is it's a lifetime game. It's just 3-point contest running back and forth.
Yep.
So that the sport has changed, and so Nate is right about it. Boxing.
Look, pound for pound champ. Never again. I probably never again is going to be another champ like this. But pound for pound champ. Never. I've never seen another boxer like this guy, Julio Cesar Chavez.
Chavez.
Never. Dude was a warrior. Dude was the champ, people's champ. Dude, those fights were vicious. Man, you think he's losing at the end? And man, it literally embodied just the whole Mexican culture of how these rooster fights, where the rooster's almost half dead and just jumps out of nowhere and boom, knocks out the other rooster. It's just that's what people wanted to watch. That's what boxing was. It was for champions. And Mayweather was never a champion. I mean, he won, right? But he wasn't a champion, and he wasn't the people's champ.
I have a, right now that you brought that up about the greatest, or fighter and all that, I would say the greatest. I've watched a lot of really good boxing matches, but the feeling that I got when I watched Marquez knock out Pacquiao.
Marquez is
that
good.
was different.
Marquez was a
That
great
was-
fight.
that was a moment.
That was a
that was the
moment.
moment is etched in my brain,
Yes.
and not only that, because I literally turned around and like hugged my wife when she was like my girlfriend. Like we weren't even. I literally turned around and gave her like the biggest hug. Now she's my wife. Now we have 3 kids.
I watched that fight on
That
Rayford.
solidified it. Yeah.
I watched that fight at Rayford at Rookies. Yeah, I watched it there. That was an awesome fight.
Yeah.
I was at my Tio Eddie's house. I was right.
But now check this out. That fight there that you saw there, that just biting your nails and just. That's the fight that Chavez used to give you every single time.
Man.
Always a
That
fight.
was-
Always a war.
Both Cesar Chavez, they have that. They both have a hell of a fight in them.
He's talking about
I'm a fan of the latter one.
the California Cesar
Hey,
Chavez.
let's bring it back to football because I want to end on this note. Hey, everybody's been saying the script's been written, they're cheating, that the refs are pushing the Chiefs through. What do you feel about that, Paulie? Because I feel like as a Texans fan, they let them dudes
I'm definitely
get away with a lot.
I identify myself as a Houstonian. And the Texans, I pull for them. They played a better game than the Chiefs. That game, I thought there was a bad call. I thought D'Amico should not have kicked that field goal right before halftime because their defense was definitely down. They had a control of the game, and a lot of times people think defense is not scoring points, even though you can score points in the defense. But a lot of times that's a way to keep momentum. So them kicking that field goal, which they missed in those wind conditions, giving Mahomes the ball at half field, gave them an opportunity to score their first touchdown. That was the first mistake, but those 2 bad calls. The champs get the calls. That's period. Jordan got the calls when he was 6-time champion. Boxing, in order to beat the champ, you have to
beat them.
You have to outright beat them. So, we lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago to them because Hurts fumbled the ball before halftime and the holding call to end the game. So we didn't beat them outright, but I can guarantee you this: we're going to beat them outright Sunday.
Let's go. And we're
Let's
I
go.
love that.
Remember that.
Sí se puede.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Be careful with that, bro. Be careful.
Don't let Cesar Chavez here.
That's funny.
We got him on speed dial over here, man.
Yeah, wow.
All right, guys, this was a great podcast. Paulie, I'm going to go ahead and let you exit out first. Make sure you let everybody know where they can find you, your Instagrams, your YouTube, your website, whatever it may be, and then I'll let everybody else exit out.
So the clothing one line is URP Wear. Unlike regular people, urpwear.com. You get one life. Do it right. Fitness meets fashion. Check it out. And financially, it's wealthstandardfinancial.com.
Awesome. Go ahead, Vic.
I'm Victorino Cortez, the president of Lionsgate Realty. We are hiring, we're recruiting, we're growing, we're exciting. Give us a call. We're looking for you.
Oh, I'm Nate Balderas. I'm the broker for Lionsgate Realty. You can find me in all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate. And if you're looking for a new home, you better call Nate.
And I am Jovani, right here with HBR, your moderator for the podcast. Also a manager here with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on Instagram as Jovani_Frank. And I'm going to give a strong endorsement. This stuff is so comfortable. URP, you guys need to go out there, check it out. It's freaking awesome. The fit is great too. We're trying to convince Nate to stop getting us the extra skinny stuff and more of this regular stuff. This is awesome.
Well, we might have a Lionsgate Realty collab with URP because this is great, bro. This looks great.
That would be awesome.
If Paulie lets me, I will do that. But
We can wear it under your suits too.
You know they're throwing shots at me because I don't like them to wear baggy like hoodies and stuff like that. So whenever I buy,
bro,
merch,
he's out there wearing slim fit, the smallest size, thinnest shirt.
Look,
you
bro,
know,
that's how you look, bro.
We all don't go to the gym. You know, I got a little meat on me. You
that's
know,
how you look, man. It'll encourage
I look like I'm out there wearing a sports bra.
We look like we're wearing a freaking diving suit with the stuff that Nate does. And he has that stuff over there for it. Never mind. Until next time. Yeah, never mind.